This is the one thing that everybody wants, is the sub-second draw, right? But in order to get to the sub-second draw, or even be thinking about getting around a sub-second draw, you need to be very, very efficient, right? Because the speed that you're looking for, it has to be a product of efficiency in order for it to be something that you can actually use, right? In other words, being able to get the gun out really quickly and get it to your eye line really fast and break off a shot that doesn't go where you intend it to go is not useful, right? It's only useful if you can take that speed and you can convert it into hits, right? So in order for that to happen, you have to be very, very efficient about what you're doing, which means you need a lot of deliberate repetitions in the beginning, right? But a lot of people don't know where to start. So I'm gonna take us all the way back to the beginning. How do we break the draw down? How do we think about drawing the pistol, right? So let me clear my gun out right quick. Status checks are always free, as we know. All right, and I didn't have a round in my chamber, but I just wanted to make sure really quick and verify what's going on in my gun. Put this in my cargo pocket. All right, so when I get my gun out, I'm gonna go this way, all right, so just nobody cross in front of me. So when I get the gun out, I have a little mantra that I say to myself, okay? And the mantra is access, withdraw, drive, sights, press. So as we're going through this process, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you guys the word access. When I say the word access, that's your cue to anchor your support hand someplace. I'm not gonna tell you exactly where you wanna anchor your support hand. Some guys want it up high because when they marry their hands together, they wanna do it up here and they wanna punch the gun out, and that's fine. Some guys wanna get the hands together low. I like to get my hands together low. The reason I like to get my hands together lower is because the sooner I can get my hands married up, right, the more time I have to fidget with my grip on the way to the visual, on the way to my visual plane, right, and once I get the gun up in front of my eye line. If there's still something off with the grip when the gun hits my eye line, obviously something went badly, right, but if that's the case, then I can still make an adjustment there. So that's why it's very important to me that I join my hands together low. It's also very important to me that I get my hand to the gun fast. So I've heard the words like, I've heard people say like attack the holster. Attack the holster is a good way to think about it. Another way to think about it is be fast to the gun, right? I want to be fast getting my hand to the gun. So you hear that word access? Access. All right, we're getting the hand on there fast, all right? Access, withdraw. Withdraw means get the gun out of the holster, right? Once we get the gun out of the holster, as soon as we get it out, it needs to be going outboard, right? Because as soon as the gun is outboard, what can I start to do? I can start to prep my trigger, right? So I want to get my finger onto my trigger as soon as my sights are on a legally and morally acceptable target, right? Do I need to be able to see my sights on a legally and morally acceptable target in order to be able to prep my trigger? Justin, what do you think? Yes? I'm going no.
You said you had a target ready?
I have a target.
Yes.
So let's say that this piece of cardboard over here is my target, right?
Yes.
I can see my target. I've identified my target. I've made a decision that that target needs bullets in it right now, right? Okay, so my sights are not on the target yet, but can I shoot the target, or I'm sorry, my eyes cannot see my sights on the target is what I should say.
Yeah, no.
But can I shoot the target? Yeah.
Yes.
I can shoot the target, right? From this distance, I can virtually guarantee you that most of you with a little practice would be able to get a hit on that target, right? You might not be able to get all of the hits all of the time today, but with a little bit of practice, you can get your gun out, you can get your sights onto that target, and without being able to see the sights, you could break a shot at that distance and be accurate enough with what we call indexed shooting or kinesthetic alignment shooting or point shooting, right? So just because it's unsighted fire, Jim, is it also unaimed fire? No, right? We can aim without using a visual sight picture. Does that make sense? Okay, so in that sense, it's not unaimed fire, right? It's unsighted fire. So in that sense, if my sights are on a legally and morally acceptable target, may I put my finger on the trigger?
Yes.
100%, right, okay, awesome. So we all agree, as soon as my sights hit the target, if I can see them or not, I can start to prep the trigger, right? So the sooner I can start prepping that trigger, why is that significant to me, Josh? Why does it matter?
Dun dun. Why does it matter that you start to prep your trigger?
That I start to prep my trigger before I'm actually aligning my sights.
So that once you get onto your target and you can see your sights on your target, if you're already on that wall, then you have that much less time and that much less to go until you can actually break the shot.
Very good. So as soon as my sights give me permission, right? As soon as I can justify breaking the shot, I want to be ready to justify the shot, right? That's going to be different depending on proximity to the target, depending on how much I'm prioritizing speed as it is compared with accuracy, right? So if I'm prioritizing accuracy more so than speed, then I may need to see my sights a little bit better. I may need to take a little bit more time to align that shot, right? If I'm prioritizing speed over accuracy, I might be a little bit less selective about what sight picture I'm going to allow to give me permission to press that trigger. Does that make sense? But when we're doing this initially, I want to be very, very deliberate about what we're trying to do. So we're going to be looking right at that square. Target's going to be right in front of us about 3 yards away, and we're going to access, withdraw, drive. As soon as our sights are stopped on that target, gentlemen, I want to be ready to press that trigger. All right? So I'm going to give you guys the commands. We're going to access, withdraw, drive, sights, press. All right? You're going to be ready to fire the gun when I give the command. All right? I'll do the demonstration.
Why don't we talk a little bit more about the number one step, right?
Access.
Okay, so access.
What are your questions on access?
So multiple ways, right, that we can index our hand onto the gun to make sure that we get a nice
first points of
solid
contact,
grip
right?
in the holster, because the grip that we get in the holster is a grip that we're going to have in a gunfight.
There you go. I love it. Thank you for taking a step back there. So, get that master grip coming out of the holster. When we refer to master grip, all right, my first point of contact is underneath the trigger guard, right? Some other people prefer to try to get their hand index first up high on the tang of the pistol and rock in. They just want to put the hand in and rock in and get a good firm grip that way. What I find happens to me when I go to rock in and then grasp the gun, I will pull the gun out sometimes and I will have a pretty significant gap between my finger and the trigger guard. Joel, can you see? I can make eye contact with you through that gap, right? So that's a pretty sizable path of least resistance between my hand and that pistol, right? If that gun is an index between these two hard points in my hand, this middle finger and this thumb, right? If I don't have that gun kind of pinned between those 2 points in my hand, it's going to move around quite a lot in my grip, isn't it? So I want to make sure that whatever my master grip is, whether I'm rocking in from the back strap or whether I'm grabbing from underneath, I want to make sure that I have my master grip on that gun when it comes out, because Josh is absolutely correct. Whatever the grip I get on the gun coming out, that's the grip I'm stuck with, and it might not even be as good when I'm done, right? Depending on how bad my grip starts to break down as I'm pressing that trigger, right? Because again, if I don't have it's just like when we were talking about mounting the rifle earlier. If I don't have a shooting platform that's gonna maintain its integrity, right? If I don't have a good connection between my hand and the gun, is that grip going to maintain its integrity? Definitely not, right? It's going to start to break down almost immediately. So if I get a shit grip to begin, you can bet that grip is going to go from bad to worse as I'm pressing that trigger. Okay. So thank you, Josh, for that. The other thing too, a lot of people talk about like 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, whatever relationship between the two hands. My advice to you is initially, honestly, this hand is going to want to have relatively little muscular tension in it, because you're going to have a hard time isolating this trigger finger the more squeezing you're trying to do with these hands. So what I suggest is get the wrist nice and firm to mitigate the muzzle flip. Keep this thumb going really firmly into the back of the gun. Like envision yourself, you were a karate guy trying to like break through a stack of bricks. Really keep the heel of the hand like that rigid and that forceful going against the back of the gun. But allow these fingers to be relatively loose on the pistol so that the actual grip strength is coming from pressing this hand into the back of the gun and pulling these fingers back into the gun as well. All right, and then we form like a vise on the gun. So I'll show you a little technique. Take your right hand and turn it upside down for me. So when I go to grip the gun, I want you to feel how I kind of hold this, all right? So I get a little pinching action going on up here, nice and relaxed, all right? A little bit relaxed there, a little bit firmer down low, right? I call that a cascading grip pressure, right? So I don't want to be doing too much squeezing up here, because when I start doing a lot of squeezing up there, try to move this finger, see how my wrist is doing all sorts of crazy shit? If I relax these fingers and I try to isolate that trigger finger, see how much more relaxed that is? And I get a lot less movement in the rest of my hand, yeah? So I'm gonna go ahead and get a good press with this hand, and I'm gonna grind the support hand in, and I'm gonna press and pull, and now when I go to press that trigger, press, 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 versus press, press, press. Do you feel all that?
Yeah.
Way too much movement, right? The more I squeeze, the more I start to milk the grip as I press that trigger, right? So less muscular input on the gun is more stability in your grip. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So try and minimize that muscular input on the gun, guys, as much as you can. All right? What are our questions on that before we do the demo? Josh, thank you very much for taking a step back there. That was awesome. All right, so eyes and ears. We're gonna get nice and close. Josh, can you come right up kind of next to me? So you're gonna be me for this, all right? So you're gonna give the commands. You're gonna go access. My hand's gonna go onto the gun. You're gonna go withdraw. Gun's gonna come out. You're gonna say sights, or access, withdraw, drive. You're gonna say drive, I'm sorry. I'm gonna start to press the gun out, right?
Yep.
Questions? Huh? Thank you. Status checks are free.
Access, withdraw, drive, sight, press.
So because I had a good grip mechanic, right? Because I had everything ready to go when the gun came out, as soon as my sight stopped on that square, I was ready to press the trigger, right? I did not disturb my gun when I broke the shot because everything was already in place as soon as the gun stopped. All I had to do was deliver the shot. I was not in a hurry there, all right? So, try one more. You guys can see it again. Did everybody see okay from where you are? You guys from over on this side, why don't you bring it on to this side real quick. Set this down by my feet and we'll just make sure to do one more.
Access, withdraw, drive, sights, press. So really in your head, it's going access, withdraw, drive, sights, press. Press. Right?
Same hole.
Did you keyhole that? Yeah.
Really? It's going access, withdraw, drive, sights.
Same hole.
Yeah.
Right from the holster, gun came right to the same exact spot, right? What are your questions?